This is a review of factoring to solve quadratic equations. The zero product property says that if we multiply two numbers together and get 0, then either A was 0 or B was 0. So, for example, if we have x plus 3 times x plus 2 and that equals 0, then either x plus 3 equals 0 or x plus 2 equals 0. So let's solve an example. So either 4t plus 1 equals 0, since our product is 0, or t minus 2 equals 0. So then we just solve each of these. So over here, to solve for t, we subtract 1 from both sides, divide by 4, so t equals negative 1/4. Over here, we need to add 2 to both sides, so t equals 2. So our two solutions are negative 1/4 and 2. Okay, so this one we'll come back to. So next we're going to solve by factoring. Okay, and so I'm going to rewrite our equation. So x squared plus 8x plus 15 equals 0. And just like with the quadratic formula, it has to equal 0 before we can factor. To factor, we're going to take the number that's out front, which in this case is 1, and we're going to write down the factors. The only possible factors are 1 times 1 equals 1. Then we're going to write down the factors of the last number, 15. So my options are 1 times 15 or 3 times 5. Okay, and so now we have to check and see how can we get the middle number. So first I'm going to check 1 times 1 and 1 times 15. So 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 15 is 15, and when we add these together we do not get 8, we get 16, and our goal is to get this middle number, 8. Okay, so can't be that option. So we'll try the second option. 1 times 5 is 5, 1 times 3 is 3, and when we add those together, yep, we get 8 in the middle. So I want 1 and 1 and 3 and 5. So when we factor, it's going to look something like this. Since we have x squared, we need x's out front. These numbers on the left go in front of the x's, so these have to go in front of the x's. And then the outside numbers go together, so I multiplied 1 by positive 5, and the insides go together, 1 times positive 3. So here's my factored form of the equation. Now we have to do what we did before. And since I have two things multiplied together that equal 0, either this equals 0 or x plus 5 equals 0. So then solving, I subtract 3, and x equals 3. Over here, subtract 5, and 1x or x equals 5. So those are my two solutions, 3 and 5. Okay, so now we're going to try one where my last number is negative. So I'm going to do the same thing before. I'm going to rewrite this. M squared minus 5m minus 14 equals 0. Okay, my number out front again is 1. So 1 and 1 are my only options. My number in the back is 14, but it's negative 14, and the only way to get a negative number is if I multiply a negative by a positive. So either I have negative 1 and 14, 1 and negative 14, negative 2 and 7, 2 and negative 7, and that's it. So now I go through and check. So I could do 1 times negative 1, which is negative 1, 1 times 14, which is 14. And if I add these together, 14 plus negative 1 is 13, which is not what we're looking for. We're looking for negative 5. Okay, so it's not even close. So I'm going to skip down to negative 2 and 7. 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. 1 times 7 is 7. If I add these together, I get positive 5, which is not what I want. I want negative 5. But we're closer to the right answer. So let's try 2 and negative 7. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times negative 7 is negative 7. When I add those together, yep, I get negative 5 in the middle. Okay, this time we have m squared, so we're going to have m's out front. These numbers on the left have to go in front of the m's. And then outside numbers go together, so 1 times negative 7, negative 7. Insides go together, so 1 times positive 2. Okay, so negative 7 plus 2, yep, that's negative 5. Now, either this side equals 0, m plus 2 equals 0, or this one equals 0, m minus 7 equals 0. 1m and m are the same thing. Solve by subtracting 2 over here. Solve by adding 7 over here. So either m equals negative 2 or m equals 7. Okay, this one we're going to skip. And here's our last problem. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite this because it's supposed to be 2a squared minus 15a plus 18. Okay, so this time we have a number other than 1 out front. So our factors are going to be 1 and 2 instead of 1 and 1. And then we have 18 at the end here, so my factors are 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6. Okay, but when I look at my middle number, we're trying to get negative 15, and there's no way that all these positive numbers are going to give me a negative number in the middle. So the other way I could get positive 18 by multiplying is if both of our factors are negative. So that means all of my factors of 18 have to be negative. Okay, now we go through and do our checking. And it ends up that, let's see, 1 times negative 3, so negative 3. 2 times negative 6, which is negative 12. That is the combination that's going to give us negative 15 in the middle. Okay, so we need a's in the front, since we have a squared. My numbers on the left here have to go in front of the a's, since they came from the 2 that's in front of a squared. And 1 went with negative 3. So 1, outsides go together, 1 has to go with negative 3. 2 went with negative 6, insides go together, so minus 6 has to go in the front one. Okay, so if you multiply numbers together, they should not be in the same parentheses. They should be in different parentheses. Okay, so again, to see what equals 0, we're going to have a minus 6 equals 0, or 2a minus 3 equals 0. To solve this one over here, we're going to add 6 to both sides, a equals 6. Over here, we're going to add 3 to both sides, and divide both sides by 2. So a equals 3 over 2. So either a equals 3 over 2 or a equals 6.